Hello, everyone! Welcome back to the RashInvestor.co's Daily Brief. Woohoo! Actually, I'm super stoked this morning, everybody. Looks like we're live on YouTube, so that's good to see. Actually, I just did the present to everyone. There we go. Awesome. That clicked in too. Great to see. We got a pretty full room over there on YouTubers, so nice to see everybody this morning. And I see we have a pretty full lounge here this morning as well. So actually, it was interesting. I woke up this morning and it was like, oh, these members can't get on the site. No, Bitcoin's come right back down to the bottom of the range. Oh, the altcoins are all fucking red. And I was just like, oh, great. What a great day. Party. But it's interesting, actually over the past hour and a half, 2 hours, things just started to pivot here. And I actually got handed just a fucking awesome treat here maybe about a half an hour ago. One of my favorite alumni that I haven't seen on the site, but he said he's been lurking around in the background, popped in. And we had originally asked Alex if he could help us with the Daily Brief sort of co-host position. And I saw him here this morning on the site, and I asked him if he still was interested, and he was like, fucking hey, man, yeah, right on. So here he is. Look at that big smile on his face. I love seeing Alex's smile. Look at that. He's got $1 million smile. I've put him on the camera. You can come in and say hi to everybody, Alex, if you'd like. But I am looking forward to Alex joining the team, and he's going to be a regular contributor to the morning shows. So you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi, everybody. So I'm totally stoked to set the stage for you and Thomas from now on. And yeah, I guess we're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome. It's going to take a little bit to get Alex up to speed here. So, bear with us. But, he's got his groovy 1970s headphones on. So as long as he's got he probably picks up perception. Are you picking up Thomas? I think he's on Venus today. Do you get the signal from Venus? I don't know. No, not so much. But anyway, actually, it's interesting because Alex even posted in the lounge. He's got an interesting setup working on Amazon right now in the stock market. So maybe we'll get him to inform us what he sees there. And as well, another added treat. I mean, I just got handed just a whole bunch of treats here this morning. I was so stoked. We have officially brought Sjord on full-time. He's now my bitch. On TRI. Actually, we're all bitches together because technically we're all equal equity owners in the site. But anyway, Sjord's here as well. And I don't know whether he's going to be a regular contributor on dailies, but I think at least once a week. We'll have him pop on. He is, of course, our head site guy. He is basically the brains behind our new site. I love it. So I don't know, Sjord, do you have a microphone? Can you come in and say hi to everybody this morning?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, there he is, Mr. Hot Dog Man in the flesh. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm great, and everything is calm and quiet in the Lego City as well, in the background.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Yeah. Look at that. And I actually saw that you were saying that you're going to put some of that stuff away. Heavens, no. You got to keep the Lego City going, man.
Yeah, I need to make some room for some trading screens, I guess.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Oh, isn't that interesting? That was 2 different views. Do you have 2 different cameras going?
Yeah, one for my good side and one for my bad side.
Okay. Well, just be sure to put the good side on, okay? Whatever that is.
Yeah, that's this one.
Oh, that's that one. All right. So, just an FYI for everybody, Mr. Bear is, I think, en route to the jungles of Siberia today. He said he's going to be in and out through the week. We'll have a presentation from him tomorrow. But Thomas is away today. So this is going to be kind of like a little bit like what we did with the weekend broiler chicken show. But as I said, if anything, this is an awesome opportunity to bring Alex in and introduce you to him and get sort of his perspective. He is an alumni of the entire course. I think he's done. Whoops, actually, I'm sharing the wrong screen, aren't I? Geez, I got to be careful. See, Alex, now this is something you're going to have to learn and manage. So everybody can bitch at Alex for not having the right screen on, not Brian. But geez, where do we begin? A little bit of site maintenance. Just I'll take just maybe 5 minutes here. Talk a little bit about stuff that messages that I got. I always like to try and keep on top of this. The level 2 and level 3ers, we're having a little bit of problems with your site membership expiring. Julian went through and manually updated everybody over the weekend. I saw that Kavarkanator was having some trouble, but he reported to me that he's good to go. Wayne, last night you reported that you were still having problems. So Wayne, when you do watch this later on, please let me know whether you're good to go. And any other level 2 or level 3ers that are having problems, please reach out to me and we'll get you guys fixed up. I really appreciate you guys hanging around the site and actively participating. It's what makes TRI so awesome. So please understand, heartfelt apologies, nothing intentional. WordPress is basically, Sjord, have we taxed WordPress into the ground here?
Yeah, we have. Well, basically all of our members did.
So we have pushed WordPress to the absolute limit, and we can start to see it's starting to break a little bit. So if anything, great timing that we moved to a new site. Please understand, guys, it's not intentional. We're not trying to, screw you over or anything. It's just purely having to deal with a site with a lot of members and a lot of different memberships. So I apologize, Wayne. Hang in there, buddy. I totally appreciate all of the contributions you and the entire current level 3 guys are doing. If you need to bitch at me, feel free to bitch as loud as you want. I just wanted to just set that. We talked a little bit about Alex joining. What else? And I apologize. You see my screen on a daily basis. I don't know where you are, Christian, if you're over on the YouTube page or not. But Christian's been just spitting up some fantastic research. Remember, about a week or two ago, he came to us with another idea. Here he's come to me with a couple tech stocks. It's interesting that Alexander is as bullish on tech as he is, with leaders like Amazon. Christian found this idea, Alibaba, and I think there is a trade here, Christian, no doubt about it. You can see where the weekly W's are, and what I absolutely love about this is the whole idea of finding those weekly W's, right? This is a weekly price chart, weekly W's. You can clearly see where the sort of structural bottom in this asset is. A little concerned that maybe we're just front running a little bit, getting too aggressive on the short side here. As well too, Christian, let's draw our fibs off of 1 year range, especially on your daily charts. And I noticed when I went down and looked at the 1 year range on your weekly chart that we should be drawing our daily fibs off of this low right in here, or these lows really. Actually, really anywhere along here, probably even we're getting to the point where it might even have to be drawn off of that gapping low right there. But if you did do that, Christian, my hunch is 38.2 probably lines up with these lows really nicely. Somebody just mentioned here, Albert just mentioned that Alibaba just went to new highs. So if anything, that makes sense. Alexander's going to show us his Amazon trade, and we were talking recently over the last week, and I don't know whether I talked about it in the broiler chickens, but I definitely did through the end of the week last week, this relationship between energy prices and tech stocks. And energy prices just broke to new lows. It has a bear AB equals CD now. You can see the momentum failure. Willie was stupid. Getting moving average crosses. We probably even now have a nice Hogue 80% play. So, and of course, we got to make sure we have on the range. All right, so that's roughly, yeah. So you can see how the market slammed down into value high. Are we going to accept into value? Basically, that's what this reversal is here. I think the odds are at energy, there's the 200 period moving average. Energy prices probably need to, at the very least, come down to value low. and back against all these lows here. So with that said, and our continual conversations about tech, does it make sense that tech can catch a bid here? And I kind of think it does. Yes, Willie is stupid. I'm not going to be like me personally. I don't like to chase long ideas up here. But, it's interesting. Alexander's got a nice cup and handle formation that he's found on a big tech stock. I can understand the logic behind the trade. And, interestingly enough, in this crazy-ass fucking cycle, these 17.5-year pivots, we often see markets do really, really weird things through these pivots. So, actually, Alexander, do you want to maybe come on and show us your Amazon chart now and sort of walk us through? And I really liked Alexander was talking about, there was one gentleman who talked about, what were the name of the waves again? What was that called again?
It's the Hyperwaves guy. I actually prepared a little something here. So
oh, you're a sweetheart. Jeez, look at, he's already, he totally, he wasn't expecting to come on, but he's already saying he's got something already prepared for us. So I thought this was really interesting, the correlation, because we all were concentrating on this hyperwave idea with Bitcoin going to 20 Gs. He happens to be seeing the same sort of thing in the stock market right now. So I have you on camera here, sir. We can set you to present to everyone. Do you know how to screen share?
Yep.
Okay, so you are now presenting to everyone. So all right.
Yes. All right.
So now I see, so you got half of an Amazon screen and half of my screen, I guess. Oh, there you go. Now you got your full screen.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us what's on your mind, sir. And YouTubers, can you just confirm that you're seeing Alexander's Amazon chart here? I'll look for that text from the YouTubers. But go ahead, sir. Tell us what's on your mind.
Okay. So I'm just starting getting my feet a little wet in the stock market, and I'm just trading patterns, basically paper trading them. So here on Amazon, I found a little cup and handle. I guess if you scroll down to the lower time frames, you could also trade a bot there. Like Brian said, I mean, the trade location itself is a little peculiar, because if you look at the chart itself, Amazon has come a pretty long way. But what I found pretty interesting was, we had, I think it was a few weeks ago, a discussion about Hyperwave and this Tyler Jenks guy, where he said that he saw certain markets behave a particular way, where it went through these 7 phases, which is basically a bubble. And when I look at Amazon, I basically can see a pretty similar thing there, where we had phase 1 here, where it's just basically a trading range, then it breaks out of this, and it's just accelerating. And this to me looks like a phase 4, which is very violent in price, and of course it's not the start of a trend, but on the lower time frames you can still find patterns to trade, and yeah, let's see what it goes.
That's super cool. Do you happen to have a link? Is that like a screenshot of that Hyperwave picture? I wouldn't mind just throwing that, like,
yeah,
lounge or something. Be careful we don't see any porn on your URLs. I'm just being silly. All right, let's see what Alex has for us here. All right, yeah, and I'm just going to throw that in the lounge. Oh, look at that. You already did. You beat me to it. Way to go, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so, geez, if anybody can remember the day that we did that daily brief, I don't know whether I put it in the notes of the daily brief, but that was a really good conversation we had about that. That was a few months ago, wasn't it? Eh?
Yeah, I can find that out. I'm gonna find it out for next week. Okay,
you're a scholar and a gentleman, sir. So it's interesting that one of our vets is closely tracking the tech stocks and the stock market moving higher. I thought it was interesting too, just sort of aside before we leave this topic. I'll throw my screen back on here.
Yeah.
The question ultimately here for us is, where are we in this economic cycle? I think we all have to be cognizant of the fact that usually recessions happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. And if we look at the stock market, sort of thinking about Alex's scenario of blow off top in the FANG stocks, the really popular stocks, it's interesting. Here is our current stock market rally. And, it's so sad, right? Because through this cycle, did the public really feel like they were getting any more wealthy, even though the stock market's, like doubled or tripled or quadrupled? Not really. It's kind of sad. But nonetheless, the only other rally in the 20th century that can compare to where we are now was the post World War II rally, and you can see that in duration times, we're starting to even get up into sort of that sort of duration window. So make no mistake about it, guys. We're closer to the top than we are the bottom. There's no doubt about it. Usually, how do crashes happen? Well, ironically enough, usually what they have to do is they have to take the stock market straight up, get all the public going, oh, we're all going to get rich, everybody buy stocks, right? And that sucks them all in, and then boom, down she goes. So please understand that we're very, very late in the cycle. But, I wanted to reiterate to you guys, we're watching the economic cycle in particular. And coming out of the first 2 weeks of this quarter was really interesting. Materials and energies led. But as we sort of said just a moment ago, the energy market is really falling out of bed here. And I'm really, June is always a very, very tough month for commodities anyway, right? Buy your unleaded in the middle of February, sell at the middle of May, you made money 9 out of the past 10 years. Well, now we're through May. All the pros are off to the Hamptons right now. They don't give a shit about the market. And so, gee whiz, what a surprise. The summer driving is officially started. The summer driving season is officially started. Energy prices have topped out. All the wholesalers have bought all their unleaded that they want. Now they're starting to shill it to the public. So, our conversation about Alexander and seeing what's happening in Amazon, the fact that somebody just posted Baba has broken out to new highs. And Albert here says NVIDIA, Amazon, SQ, Facebook, close. I can feel that, maybe we're going to head into this sort of face rip kind of mode for tech here going forward. I also too, though, understand that as we come into these weekly options expiry events, it shouldn't surprise us that on Fridays that they actually take the market to very specific levels. So you want a fun assignment. Alex, you did the level 3 program and the options. Do you look into options open interest at all? Be really interesting to go and look at your open interest on your Amazon options and see where the big boys plan to take that thing based on the options data. So that's kind of a fun side assignment if you'd like to look into that. I found it fascinating. We did this report last week, and we said that basically Wall Street hits a home run on the S&P 500 if they could close the market on Friday at 273. And notice the close, 273.60. So these guys, again, just fucking, just pocketed just a ridiculous amount of money. And they probably took that money and went and paid for their trips up to the Hamptons. So this brings us back to that original conversation. I don't know whether I can see a stock market break in 2018 because we have these big congressional elections in the states coming up here in November. And very rarely do they ever break the stock market ahead of a big political event. It doesn't happen very often. In my 30-year career, the only time I ever saw it happen was the very end of George Bush Jr.'s presidency, when it was well known that Dick Cheney was not going to try and be, run for president following George Bush Jr.'s terms. And the market just basically accepted the fact that the Republicans were going to lose control of Washington. That's not the case here. Donald Trump ain't going anywhere. Get used to it. We got another couple of years of this guy. At least. My hunch is he's probably going to win again. But anyway, that's here and there. So, it is interesting when we look at the first 2 week study, we see that as of right now, right, this is as of basically the first of the month, we haven't taken in today's data. So with energy coming off, this is going to come down a bit more. And then, of course, with Alex's trade, look who's perking up here. And Albert saying, you know, Facebook, NVIDIA, Amazon, SQ. I'm not quite sure who SQ is. But what I'm kind of seeing here, cyclicals and tech outperforming, is maybe we're still back here in this cycle. So it is interesting to see how the fund managers, they thought that we were more like here in this cycle. But the market seems to think that we're more here. Long and short of it here is we're not over here. We're not here. We don't expect a stock market crash right away. And if anything, we're in that process. This is what they call climbing the wall of worry. You know, the Fed will continue to raise interest rates until they break the market. As soon as they break the market, then we'll start thinking about recessions. But that just isn't it here right now. And then the last point that I wanted to make on this, and I'm sorry I'm being so long-winded here, but I thought it was really interesting when I was reading sort of the news about what's going to happen with NAFTA. This is big, right? If the Americans and Mr. Trump go and just scuttle NAFTA, it's going to have, you know, multiple year ramifications. And this may be what the driver of the next recession is. And I thought it was really interesting that if you go and read this data, they're all basically saying don't expect anything to happen in 2018. But we fully expect the shit to hit the fan in first quarter 2019. Again, recessions usually happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. So that would be right on cue. It would be after the congressional elections. That would be on cue. And of course, the Fed is expected to be raising rates here all along, and we still haven't had the yield curve invert. So we know that, and this is sort of our secret weapon as stock market aficionados, we know that basically within about 6 months of them inverting the curve, that's when you get the break in the stock market. So put it all together, I don't think we should be expecting a break in the stock market right away. And if anything, actually, I kind of like Alex's, and I think that's actually really well timed. That whole idea of the hyperwave and a massive blow off top in stocks to sort of mark the top of the cycle. And I suppose the final piece to that is in my email this morning, these guys here, they're getting all excited. I actually, when I pulled up the email, I actually thought that was Thomas. I was like, what are you doing in their email? But these guys, and I'm a big fan of these guys, the Foundation for the Study of Cycles. And this is sort of their prognostication for 2019, 2020. It's going to be a tough ride here, boys and girls. The great part about it for you crypto enthusiasts is crypto's already gone through about half of this move. So, you know, and you guys actually survived it all like champs. I haven't seen anybody blow themselves up, which is very encouraging. But, you know, I think that this is sort of what we have to start looking for the next few years. And it kind of sucks because, you know, since I've been running this website with Julian, we've been in an economic expansion. And you know, it's going to be a really interesting tell for both the site and for you guys, how you handle yourself through an economic contraction. So, you know, there's going to be, you know, you guys have all handled yourself very, very well through the crypto contraction. And, you know, this, if anything, if we're really lucky and the market starts to break apart here, Bitcoin actually puts in its bottom and everybody runs into Bitcoins, you know, scared shitless of owning stocks or owning anything fiat. So, you know, this is going to be a really interesting period for us going forward over the next couple of years. And if anything, I think this is an excellent dovetail because we've been sort of very patiently waiting for a new website and all the fun tools and stuff that we've been building over the years with working with Sjord. So maybe, Stuart, could you maybe take a few minutes and just tell the audience, tell our crew sort of what our plan is with regard to the, well, not necessarily plan. I think everybody knows what the plan is, but how we doing, how the status, how things are going?
Yeah, sure. So a little update from the website development side, I guess, is that things were really busy the last couple of months, and I'm really happy now that I'm full time. So that should help move things along a bit quicker. So in the back end, on the side, the thing that you don't see is that every day we're basically building and thinking about new tools and functionality. And I really do believe, and as TOI, we do believe that if we just make the tools that we would like to use for our daily trading, then you guys will like it as well. And our goal is basically to make money for all of our members. So if we just develop the tools that help us as traders, I think that everyone will benefit from that. So for example, what we're now currently doing is the backend, the control center, so the member section, that's almost done. We're now working on a new instance of Rocket Chat. For the people that have been using Rocket Chat, it's going to replace the entire FlyZoo chat that's currently on the website. And there were some issues with the current version of Rocket Chat that you couldn't log in with your mobile app and things like that. So we're now moving towards the latest version, so that we can also use that one when we're going over to the new website. And what Rocket Chat enables us to do, for example, is send out trade notifications if TOI places a trade. And first, we will also have scanners on the website. These will be TOI scanners. So, for example, W's in the Really. A nice, cool scanning overview of altcoins or stocks that come up with that. And later on, in a bit farther away, we have plans to give the option to all members to just make those scanners themselves and to scan for their own rules. I mean, TradingView also has a scanner, but it's pretty limited. And at TOI, we do use a lot of concepts. So the concepts that we teach in the courses level 1, 2, and 3, that's basically what we first want to incorporate in the website and in the tools for all of you guys. So I'm happy to answer some questions if people have burning questions about this. And also, if you have great ideas for the website, just send me a direct message or email us. And then I will collect them all and make sure that they are on the roadmap somewhere.
Awesome stuff. And I mean, you can just listening to Stuart, just even hearing that, I already feel a lot better. I love how Stuart is so professional. He's just, I just, you know, the website's not here. We're still waiting, but I already feel a little bit better. Oh, phew. We're in good hands. So, you know, thank you very much for the update. PMA for the win. That's right. In fact, you know, Andre, that's the first thing that Stuart said to me when I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, God, I got all these people telling me they can't get on this site. Oh, Bitcoin's falling. Ah. And Stuart's just like, Brian, PMA, just relax, take a deep breath. So I really need people like Stuart in my life. Thank you very much, Stuart. I appreciate that. Okay, so that's sort of like an overview, 10,000-foot view, I suppose. And we talked a little bit about the broader market. I suppose we ought to jump into crypto this morning and talk a little bit about good old Bitcoin. I thought it was interesting yesterday in the Daily Brief. We were talking a little bit about how or I guess it was in the Broiler Chicken Show. You know, a few things sort of happened here of late. You know, if we use this MEX chart to sort of start our conversation, we had this very powerful reversal candle, but unfortunately not really railroad tracks. The tail's a little bit lower than this one. The high and the wick obviously much higher. We did create a bit of a fractal here, trying to accept back above the 9-period EMA. But as you can see, the institutional bias is still bearish. And unfortunately, and it sucks, right? Because, and I, like going on Twitter and stuff like that, there are a lot of people that were calling bottoms here. This is it. We're going straight up from here. But, my guys, maybe cool your jets, right? We've rallied into moving average resistance. The moving averages are still positioned bearishly. There is a very real possibility, guys, that we fractal top out here and then have to come down and really test these lows in earnest, right? This was a V bottom. V bottoms, by definition, have to be tested. So, we never did really get any W's out of things like momentum indicators. We got a sloppy, really quick one here. I would ideally actually like to see this RSI steady come down, test this trend line here. And if we got a cute little W right off of that test and turn back up, then I'd be like, fucking balls to the walls, man. But we're just not there yet. And it sucks. It's painful. It's slow. It's mentally taxing. We often, for the level oneers, we say that this isn't physically hard work. People are like, well, I don't have to lug around a sledgehammer, I don't have to carry like 100-pound bags. A trader's life is fucking awesome, man. It's just to sit there and get fat in front of your computer screen. And yeah, Brian's getting fat in front of his computer screen. But make no mistake about it, guys. This is mentally hard work. This is the kind of environment here where I would imagine a lot of people that just sort of said this is the bottom, load up at 100% full on margin, they might get punished here. And we have to be very slow. We have to be very patient. We have to let our reasons all develop. And then, of course, we have to obey proper risk management. And, of course, if they go and break these lows and you're taking the trade off of these levels, then you have to get out. So this is probably, where the mental tough part of this job comes in. A couple signs that actually make me feel a little bit better this morning. First and foremost, I was noticing like we did our squiggly line theory in yesterday's broiler chicken show. And we had sort of said that, and I remember all of you guys, I even said this in the video, keep a real close eye on this tail. And also notice that it was right off 38.2. And we sort of, said yesterday, this thing looks awfully toppy. And I was even commenting in the lounge, and good old Bitcoin loves to do this just as I'm about to go to bed. But in essence, this counter trend rally set up actually a pretty damn good looking little short setup last night. And you can see the counter trend rally was just a vicious shooting star right into the reload zone, right against Brian's favorite candle body levels for trade in here. If you had the balls to hit this, and trust me, I'm not going to say it's easy, you can see how that level set up like a 3.5 to 1 risk reward, just shooting for that 38.2 and that big ass tail. Remember we talked yesterday about how there's a whole bunch of trap bears in here. So in essence, the market coming down into that level, it afforded the trap bears the opportunity to get out of their trade at scratch. And you can see right now, sadly, of course, this is basically the public waking up through the New York kill zone and panic dumping. And you can see that they're just getting chopped up right now. And they're probably not enjoying themselves that much. I suppose one could argue that, just as we saw with this, the trap. I mean, I love these reversal candles where it paints a big tail and then goes shooting the other direction. Those are that's definitely trade location for me. This one here, this shooting star here, you can definitely see there are trap bulls up here. But my hunch is it's, there's going to be a lot of resistance on the way back up here. But I just thought it was really interesting. And even if you took, like, say, the clothesline, and actually we could probably do a clothesline off of about there, eh? That close right there. If we change that too, because I know, Thomas, he loves to do his clothesline. So you can see the Emmy action. even if you had taken this and shot for that 38.2, is still over a 2-to-1 risk reward. So, you know, I can completely understand it. I did see some guys on Twitter last night saying, oh, going short, we'll look to take profits at 7,500. And gee whiz, here we are, 7,500. Thought it was interesting. Those same guys are actually talking about hopping back on the long side now. So, you know, given 38.2 conversations, you know, Brian, I don't really like to take trades at 38.2. I want to see this, you know, put in some sort of structure. That's Brian's crazy, you know, squiggly line theory. I don't know whether we're going to, you know, just go straight down. I doubt it. That's very rarely happens. My hunch is, and now you could probably see it through Tuesday, Wednesday kill zones, you know, London kill zone. You can see that they can set up now a nice little counter trend rally right into that wick that we just talked about on the OK coin. You can see how they're kind of setting the trade up here already, just right out of the gate, first thing Monday morning. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this level going forward. And that's assuming that these lows hold. We might have to adjust that. But you can definitely see the short trade location developing here. Above value, candle body wicks, or candle body closes, beg your pardon, reload zone. And you got this nice shooting star, a whole bunch of trap bulls up in there. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this level, 76 up to 7,700 here through, you know, tomorrow and Wednesday. And then conversely, you can see where the buy zone is. That would be down in this area here, probably in the neighborhood of 7,000. So that's sort of our playground right now. If we go and look at the Gann angles, I think we talked a little bit about this yesterday with Bitcoin. A couple things that jump out at me here. We're coming back against, of course, the 8-to-1 level. Probably these tails right here. Trap bears, they'll probably look to try and cover right in here, and that would be that reload zone. So let's keep a real close eye on price action as we're sort of probing against these lows here. We're also coming up to a speed bump. So it's not going to be today. We're probably going to go beep, right? We'll probably paint like an inside bar tomorrow, and then we'll see, do we actually accept into the speed bump, or do we have to dump down further before we get into the speed bump? But you can definitely see we're coming up to an apex here. Once we're inside the speed bump, I would really caution you to just cool your jets until we get on the other side of the speed bump. And that's basically going to be about a week or two for us. I did also see, too, Thorben this morning. Love Thor. Such a sweetheart. Just an absolute beautiful man. He was talking about maybe this as a fundamental driver going forward. Cryptolina. I don't know whether are any of you guys on the East Coast going to Cryptolina this year. Thomas, you're on the East Coast, aren't you? So any of you guys on the East Coast, and actually I think this is sort of your neighborhood, isn't it, Thomas? You know, maybe this can be a bit of a fundamental driver to put a bottom in price. I don't know. Tough to say. But thank you, Thor, for pointing that out. But you know, probably the more interesting. Oh, you're in Dallas. Is that pretty close to Raleigh, North Carolina? I don't even know. Remember, I'm on the other side of the bloody continent, right? Tucked away up here in the Northwest. Everything, you know, it's funny. When I used to live in California, we literally used to say nothing even exists on the other side of the Rocky Mountains. That's like over there. We don't even think about that. But anyway, and I'm sure you guys on the East, right? How does that song go? Oh, no, I don't want to sing for you guys. I sound terrible. But anyway, there's an old Clarence Clearwater Revival song about being in Texas, and everything west of San Antonio is irrelevant to them. Anyway, okay, so there's your Bitcoin, right? What I found really interesting was Ethereum. You know, I think Thomas totally hit the nail on the head last week. I thought that was absolutely perfect. Ethereum was sort of the under the spotlight. It was sort of, you know, the whole EOS story. And we'll look at EOS in a moment because there's a really interesting price action there, given what we talked about in Broiler Chicken show yesterday. But what I see here now out of Ethereum, and this happens a lot with Ethereum, we basically dead cat bounce straight up into 38.2s. And now the market is simply asking, what do I want to be? Do I want to be a bull, of which I'm going to accept above 38.2? Do I want to be a bear, which I'm going to accept below 38.2? So we're in sort of no man's land right now, guys. Be careful. Don't make any huge conclusions about this. As we had sort of said on the Bitcoin price chart, you can see the potential fractal forming here. And, you know, our signal, this is going to be one of those bull-bear battle lines. And we haven't had too many of these in a while. But in essence, you can make a bull-bear battle line. There is the bull's line. And whatever the ultimate low here is going to be of this candle, there's probably your bear line. So, you know, if you want to just basically play Ethereum and let it sort of dictate what the trend going forward is, I think you have your nice clear lines in the sand. So you want to gauge, right? Just simply throw this chart on. And what was really interesting, I remember yesterday we actually looked at the lower time frames and we saw a really well-defined top come in up top there. Let's see if I can do this. So I remember yesterday's video, we talked about this M top. And I seem to remember too, we also talked about the candle body highs as an awesome trade location. And look how they confirmed the M. They counter trend rallied it up into those wicks. You would have gotten your short trade right off of those candle bodies right there. And then boom, straight down. Isn't that incredible? I mean, seriously, guys, learn this shit. It's so incredibly powerful. And look how that was just textbook reload zone. I mean, maybe you're like, well, Brian, I just feel really uncomfortable about hitting a market as it's rallying, and that's completely understandable. You could just wait for this second candle in here and take this reversal and just risk these 2 bars there. But the long and short of it here is, wow, what a trade location. And, you know, anybody who did hit that, boom, they're feeling pretty good this morning. There's our 38.2 battle lines. My hunch is, and again, check this out. I mean, God, you know, I always like to give you guys stuff to, okay, what did I learn today? Can you guys, can you all see the trapped bears in this candle right here? And in essence, the market coming down into that level, that's going to give them release. So, you know, the interesting thing is you can see they dipped this thing. They tried to bring it down into here, and it's still sort of swimming around. My hunch is they probably want to try and release those bears in there. So let's see how this goes over the next few hours. You know, I definitely wouldn't be like calling bottoms just yet. You see how long this top took to develop. If this is a bottom, it'll probably take a day or two to form up. So a dovetail to that, the EOS. We had talked in yesterday's video about how there could potentially be a bullish bot setting up here, which is a really big one, right? Take us all the way up here to 29 bucks on this thing, sitting right now at $13. So it's basically a double. Interesting how the market did put in this double bottom and rallied right up to the 25 level and stopped on a dime. And that's why I like using the 25 level for the bot, is I often see this happen. This is very normal, guys. Nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. And as you say, Joseph, rather cliche. So what do we see here now? We talked a little bit about this yesterday, that we would get a fairly clear signal on whether this was going to be a trend continuation, kind of like that bull-bear battle line conversation we just had on Ethereum a moment ago. You can see that if they had consolidated, held these lows, then this would have turned into an AB equals CD, Joby gap, but inside bar, fail. So, you know, the interesting thing is trading not frozen on EOS. It might be. I have no idea. I'm not trading this in particular. Did they stop? Let's see what's going on here. Last trade I'm showing here is last candle here on the hourlies is 9 o'clock. I just saw it move there, so I don't think so. Looks like it is moving here. I don't see it moving very aggressively here, but I do see it is the bids and offers are changing. So I'm not quite sure if it's if it's halted or not. Any way you slice it, my hunch is that this was basically a rejection of the 25 level here. As sort of good old squiggly line theory. What I would actually like to see, again, more conversation about trap bulls and bears. Can everybody see the trap bears here? Right? Learn this stuff, guys. I mean, it's serious. Learn this. So interesting how the 78.6 lines up nicely with these candle bodies. And, maybe you get some sort of dip into here to release these bears. You can see the W, the double bottom. And sort of squiggly line theory, what I'd like to see ideally is the market come down, put in a nice double bottom, and then accept higher. In fact, it would be the best scenario here, guys, and it's going to be kind of torturous. But I would actually argue that, if we really are bulls, we would actually love to see this thing come down here and put the double bottom breakout here off of this trend line. That would be awesome. Right, and then we know, Leanne LJ setup, right? We know that this thing's going to rock and roll. Right now, I think that this trend line right now actually is major resistance. So if we just come down and quickly bottom and then rally back up, we might have to smack off this thing again. So be cognizant of that. And if, as we sort of said, do we even know, did they actually get their network up and running and launched and all that stuff? Are they live yet? Does anybody know? Not yet. Okay. So big hurry up and do nothing. All right. So that, and if anything, I think this kind of conversation, we see this all across crypto right now. Market was put in violent 2-bar reversals, dead cat bounce, and now we're kind of floundering a bit. I had suggested that our buddy Sjord's favorite coin, OMG, actually came down. There you see the 2-bar reversal. This is a much better looking reversal. The market broke out, and of course, Brian, I'm not going to chase. I was a little cross at myself that I didn't take this trade, but on this dump this morning, I was like, okay, well, let's go work some bids, and let's get some money working. You'll notice that the breakout here says $10.8478. So basically $10.85. Threw my bid in at $10.85. And notice this morning it's low, $10.87.7. Fuckers! So we didn't get filled. We're off by 2.7 cents here on our bid. But we just have to be patient, live by the sword, die by the sword. If we do get filled here and we blast through these lows, I'll walk right away. I'm not going to take a lot of risk on this trade. But if these railroad tracks are for real, I said that I was going to be hunting this structure. And so if anything, I was a little upset at myself that I didn't have the trade on, because I want to be sort of a good sort of, demonstration of best practices for you guys. So just full disclosure, I do have the bid working right now. But you can see this right across the board on all of these, right? The NXT V bottom, big bounce, coming back against lows. Monero, same thing. Not even really a very clean bottom here on Monero. This low definitely has to be tested. Zcash, same thing. Dash has a pretty powerful railroad tracks working, but you can see. So it's almost like, and we often joke about this on the site, but man, it's incredible how powerful it is. If I show you first this image, and I think I'm going to do this as a report fairly regularly, there's 3 marks on this report. There is where the Chicago boys leave for the weekend, where the Chicago boys come back after the weekend, and then the check so that the Chicago boys can flatten their positions and be basically onside. And I noticed this morning, right, the Chicago boys went out here. They brought the market back, gapped it higher. And I even posted in the lounge and stuff. I was like, be careful here, guys. This is what they did last week, right? They went out here. They opened up here. They had to bring it back, filled in the gap. And in this case, it just kept going. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. You know, considering that these were lower lows, I don't think that should surprise us that it had to make lower lows. The fact that we were making higher lows and higher highs here does make it fills me with the sense that there is support down in here. But only time will tell, guys. You just don't know. But I definitely think right out of the gate, the Chicago boys just simply hit the reset button. Very normal. Very business as usual. Right, Joseph? Very cliche. It is cute to see that basically on, and I don't know whether this gap has technically been filled in yet. I don't think it has. And we were talking a bit about now, you know, London kill zone sort of expectations. You know, if I was sitting in Chicago and I was like, okay, I want to trade, well, you can see where reload zone is. It's a little bit lower than this. So I'm a little worried that people are going to be like, okay, this is the bottom. And then there's one little more fuck you moves here into like the Tuesday, Wednesday kill zone. So be careful of that. Okay, guys. And then conversely, if this is a top and they want to top it out, there's your trade level. So if I was sitting in Chicago and I was like, what the hell do I want to do? I would be watching these levels like a hawk. Boom and boom. So let's keep those on through the week, and let's see what happens. All right. So we talked a little bit about higher time frames. It is interesting that, you know, we had this railroad tracks reversal, bullish divergence, Willie stupid, even had a cute little W come in on OBV. Technically, this setup, in my opinion, is just working away. Nothing's really changed here. Right, so if you are a higher time frame player, like I said, I want to get in on that OMG trade. I'm willing to hop in on that trade. I don't know whether, I mean, we got enough Bitcoin on the books. I don't know whether I really need to strap on any leverage trades on Bitcoin. But you know, I could definitely understand. And again, you know, thinking Tuesday kill zones, do we come down here and just against these lows, put in a nice little pivot and turn back up? That would be sort of the ideal scenario for the bulls. But make no mistake about it, you know, this setup is still working away here. So just be cognizant of that. Yeah, okay. So I think I've said my piece about Bitcoin. I suppose we could also argue too, let's keep a close eye on the spreads. The spreads themselves, you can see they are just sort of stuck. And if anything, what I think is probably happening here is the market itself is just simply asking, hey, what do I want to be? Remember 38.2s with Ethereum. Do I want to be a bull? Do I want to be a bear? I would make the argument if these spreads can get up in here and we can start printing levels above this high here, that'll be a double bottom, kind of like what you saw through here, and that will be a bullish sign, right? Saw through here, bullish sign. Saw through here, bullish sign. Right now we're on the fence, right? And if anything, you know, again, as I had said earlier, it's shit like this that makes our job, right? And if we're half decent at what we do, this is the hard part of our job. We have to be patient, we have to be disciplined, and we just have to obey how this plays out. Don't try and front run something like this. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you let the market resolve itself, and then we start hunting setups. I'd also say too, there's one major problem with this study, and that is that OKCoin, this contract, technically they call it a 3-month forward contract. And in fact, I think they might even call it, no, I guess they don't call it, well, they call it futures. So we know by textbook definition, this is not a clearing corporation approved product. It's not a future. You are still very much, you know, you liquidate me, I liquidate myself. You are still playing against the house here. So everybody should understand that this is not technically a future. But, you know, this is an unregulated space. Who's going to hold these guys to account? But the point that I'm trying to make here is that this 3-month, quote unquote, futures product actually will transition into the new 2-week forwards contract 2 weeks prior to the 29th. So that means 2 weeks prior to the 29th, at the end of next week, and remember I told you about the speed bump with Bitcoin, how the end of the speed bump is here as well, 15th, 16th. So my hunch is we have to be damn careful here, guys. Now, if they dump the Bitcoin price, that, in my opinion, on the other side of this event is going to be a huge buying opportunity. Because I've seen repeatedly these forwards guys, they love to sort of dump the price, list the new forwards contract, and then go. So over the next 2 weeks, we do have to be cognizant of OKCoin fuckery here. Everybody should understand that. All right? Does that make sense, everybody? And if you need a primer on what OKCoin forwards can do, go back and look at the previous 3-month contract expiries and the real crazy ass action that happens around Bitcoin around these events. So if anything, it's interesting how some people, BTC2, I don't know what that means. BTC1? Oh, I see. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. BTC, Andre. So just be cognizant of that. And because this really technically is a 3-week forward now, it really shouldn't surprise us that the spread has completely come out of this market. And what you might find is on the other side of that event, new 3-month contract. Theoretically, if this market is relatively helpful, and let's see, healthy. Let's see if anybody here knows it. Alexander, you're not allowed to answer this. Ian, you're not allowed to answer this. Fjord, you're not allowed to answer this. Thomas, you're not allowed to answer this. But Bodhi, you're not allowed to answer this. But if this market is healthy, what should happen with the new futures listing? Should this spread go up, implying that forwards prices are higher as we go out in time, or should this spread go down? This would be a really interesting trivia question. Let's see if anybody can get this. And anybody who's an alumni or a level 3er, you're not allowed to answer this. Actually, we just did this to the level 2ers. So you level 2ers, Andre, you should know the answer to this. Brian, very good. Excellent, C. I never pronounce your name correctly, so I'm not even going to butcher it. I'm just going to call you C from now on because I don't want to insult you. Excellent. So the point here is Curran. Thank you, Ian. So I'm glad. Actually, that's good that you got the phonetic. If you just spell it phonetically, then I'll get it. Thank you, Curran. There you go. Damn straight. All right. So the point here is, if the market is healthy, if the market is normal, forward prices should be higher to reflect the carrying costs of the market. That's how the futures industry works. So that event and the listing of the new forward contract, it might actually be the catalyst that breaks this thing out. So long and short of it here is contango. Thank you. That is the term. Backwardization is actually the other way, Andre. That's an unhealthy market. And if anything, we don't want to see backwardization in Bitcoin. If we see backwardization in Bitcoin, then that means the hedgers are not happy. So, okay, so interesting conversation about spreads, and with Thomas coming back tomorrow, maybe we'll pick his brain on what he sees out of the spreads right now. Okay, let's see. The problem here in altcoins, EOS, probably a really good example. When I woke up this morning and I put on the percentage changes, and actually, there's some half decent stories, like this GLD's catching a bid here. But I noticed that breadth, like we only got that far in the list of the alts. That's not very far before we start hitting the red. And lots of red, and lots of red, and oh, Jesus, lots of red. Wow. And all the way down to there. So, you know, on the site, on the dashboard, and this is where Sjord's going to fucking totally rock our world going forward. But just right now on the data, on the DB, remember we sort of talked about this. We had altcoins minus 65 a little bit there earlier. When we did the broiler chickens, they brought it back a little bit, but I'm a little concerned that this is still a little too bullish for us to mark the bottom, right? We know that this is the bottom when both of these are just completely washed out. As well, you know, I don't happen to have it. Maybe, I don't know, Alex, if you could find it, Sjord, maybe Ian, Garrett, you're always really good at this stuff. The Turtles altcoin chart. You know, the Turtles altcoin chart, I don't think it has bottomed yet. Hey, look at that. Jeez, you're quick, Alex. I am glad we got you on board. Jesus, look how fast he was. So do we have, you know, at least we've come down and washed the market out. Now we have to go through the process of putting in a W here. So still a little bit, and then given our conversations about this upcoming OKCoin forwards contract expiry, I think we got to cool our jets for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a slog. You know, if you have names that are just right against their lows and they're washing them out, you know, get in there and do your bottom hunting, your nibbling against the low ends or ranges. For heaven's sakes, in this market, guys, do not chase. You know, I got a funny feeling it's going to be a week or two of a slog here. And if we're really, really lucky, and that's, of course, a big if, but if we're really lucky, we actually, you know, come down, test these lows, turn around, break out through the moving averages, they cross bullishly, and then we can finally start the summer silly season. But I'll tell you, it's been a bit of a slog here this spring, no doubt. And congratulations to all of you if you haven't blown yourself up. Because usually what ends up happening is, well, and the fact that you guys are actually very skeptical about whether a silly season's coming, that actually makes me feel a lot better. I want you guys, I want everybody in this space to go, no silly season. No, sell all your Bitcoin, sell all your crypto. It's all garbage. You know, turn your machines off, walk away. That's what I want to see. Like I said, for me to know that the bottom is in, I want to see blood in the streets. It kind of sucks, but, you know, that's a trader's life, right? Brian, get tweeting. Okay, so that's actually, wow, I talked for an hour and 10 minutes there. That's surprising. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Not a heck of a lot of really new, sexy ideas to throw at you. Had a couple on Binance, and it's interesting because Binance has been in the real shitter. And actually, we funded the Binance account with like 1.6 BTC, and it actually dipped below that 1.6 level. So they have completely washed out Binance. And you can see breadth-wise, what do you think? Is the bread slightly negative on Binance this morning? Wow. I mean, basically every single thing there is down. So, you know, there's great anecdotal evidence that they are washing this market out. Was interested to see, there were a couple little bright spots. You know, you can see the nice little reversal here. If you happen to have been in this DGD, rock on, way to go. But the bright spots are few and far between. Really interesting action on this Bitcoin diamond. I'm not even quite sure what the story is here, but hopefully everybody can understand the location. And a little bit of uppy action here this morning. But on balance, yeah, altcoin's going to be a bit of a slog here, guys. No doubt about it. Okay, I think that's my presentation for this morning. Looks like we lost Sjord. So I don't know, Alexander, any sort of final thoughts for the good people here? What would be, if you were going to summarize your thinking in crypto in one or two sentences, what do you think the current market state is?
Well, I guess it's always darkest before sunrise. So I guess we just got to keep trading our plans. And like you said, it's not a market where we should chase at all. and just set levels and wait.
Right. Well said. It's always darkest before the dawn. Okay, guys. I think on that note, we'll have we will have a update from the bear tomorrow. So super excited again that we have Alex, a regular participant in the Daily Briefs. Totally makes me happy. Great to see Sjord come on. He should be a regular contributor. We'll have Julian pop in and give us his RSI model. So I think we're providing lots of good quality content here on a daily basis. You know, as Alex said, build your trading plans, obey risk. This is exactly why we do not risk more than 5% of our portfolio on any given idea. And, you know, for those margin trade and leverage trading, I'd even knock that in half, right? Take like 2% risk on a setup. You know, when the market turns and bottoms, we'll see it in glorious Technicolor. The bottom is in, rock on. But for now, our number one job is just to make sure we can come back and play the game again tomorrow. And of course, in your journals, did I learn anything today? Did Brian and his crazy idea of trap bulls and bears, did that appeal to me? Can you take screenshots of that? Can you understand what Brian's thinking is there? Because it's one hell of a fucking cool concept. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much to the entire TRI community. You guys, I'm so proud. I love just waking up and seeing all you guys on a daily basis. Let's all play from a position of strength, and let's go forward with a big smile on our faces. All right, guys, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.